Your hand can be bent back, but that doesn't mean it's completely taken.
Exactly.
Understand what that is, and just like anything else.
What's going on, YouTube? We're back. It's me and Donnie here, and today we've got Mr. Adam Wawrzynski. Is that how you pronounce it?
You got it right. That's it.
Nice. How you feeling, Adam? How you feeling?
Man, feeling good. Come off a big win.
Adam's coming off this stellar performance in Ladson, PAF Ladson, Hail to the King.
That's right.
You won your super match against Noel Nunez, and then you also, I think you pulled in the tournament.
Yeah, I just entered the tournament just for fun. I don't think I even pulled my class. I pulled 242s and supers right, and then 220s and 240s left. So.
Okay. Yeah. What kind of placing did you get? Did you win it or?
Yeah, both left hand. I won 220 and 240s left, and then right, I had teammates in the class. So I think I kind of let those guys advance ahead of me. I think I let Shane take first in the 242s, Shane Owens, and I took second. And then granted, he still beat me in the supers anyway. I think I got third in the supers. It was him and Brian Wooten that also another team. So me, as long as Carolina Chaos top 3, that's a win in my book.
Hey, there we go. You can't argue with what y'all are putting out, man. You guys are putting out hella champions over there. So y'all are doing the right thing. I know that.
Right.
Yeah, put in the work, That's what we do.
I talked to Shane about a week ago, and he was like, man, you need to come up to practice. I said, well, I got a super match on the 18th. I said, I heard about y'all's practices. I'm going to wait till after the 18th. And he was oh, you heard about us, huh? And I was like, yeah, trust me, I've heard. I don't think I have it in me right now to come out there and train, and then I need at least a month off after that.
Yeah, you be all right. Definitely, all are welcome. Come up. And,
yes, sir.
Yeah, y'all all are welcome. Love new hands. Always love new hands.
You kind of want to
go ahead.
I was going to say, you want to start us off with the questions, Donnie?
Yeah. So, man, first of all, I want to say congratulations on your super match win. I have never been to, let's say, PAF's pretty big, but for me, this was only like my 4th or 5th tournament. And even watching some tournaments on YouTube and competitions like that, I have never in my life seen a crowd so turned for a man. Man, I'm telling you, it was absolutely the craziest thing. And I saw people coming, like people that were staying in their seats and this and that the whole tournament. As soon as you got up there and the match was happening, the place lit up, man. I've never seen one athlete turn a whole place upside down like that.
Well, I will say this. Most of those people were close friends and family of mine from Pennsylvania. That's where I grew up, around the Pittsburgh area. And they, I'm fortunate to have people like that in my life that'll fly 700 miles to come down and see me pull. So, there's definitely a lot of local crowd, but yeah, we had like 20 to 25 people from PA that were in that probably made up the majority of all those screaming and yelling and hooting and hollering. So.
Yeah. That's crazy. I had no idea you were from Pennsylvania. I actually was born and raised in Pennsylvania in Allegheny. I was born in Allegheny Hospital. I grew up in McKeesport. Yeah.
So I grew up in Newcastle. That's right there.
Hey, I know exactly where you're from, man. I still got family up there. They're not coming 700 miles though, but they
someday, man.
That's crazy. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So I wanted to start out with the hand control center of the table pin debate with you. That we talked about.
Oh yeah. So I didn't even know how to word that when I but something that's always kind of sat wrong in my head in arm wrestling is this, and the reason I bring this up is because there was an incident. Well, it happened, 2 weeks ago at King of Florida. Well, I guess it's 3-4 weeks ago now. But I'm sure y'all familiar. Chad Silvers was in a match with a guy in the overalls. And, Chad had a rough day and was pulling all day. And, he definitely had some tough matches. And this guy that got into the overalls, strong dude, older guy, been around for a long time. And he was fresh. He came to pull a master's class and there was nobody there. But because he was, number one in the masters, that got him to the overall.
No,
and,
yeah.
And he pulled Chad, and I'm on my table right now, actually. Chad took his hand like this, and the guy had his fingers were underneath, no attempt to hold on. Chad had his thumb, the guy's like this, and he goes and drives down sideways, and Chad pins him somewhere probably about right there. You know, I mean, it was on this other guy's side of the table, but to me, it wasn't enough on that side of the table to make it a win. But apparently, the rule is it doesn't matter about hand control at all. It's just whatever side of the table it's on.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, when I say that's the rule, I mean, there's, you know, whether that's, I don't know if that's PAF rules, AAA rules, WAF rules, IFA, you know, I don't know what.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many rule sets out there. I don't know if they're all the same, but to me, that rule needs to be revisited. Because if I got a guy who is bailing and making no attempt to hold on, and I'm completely on top, and I pin you anywhere in the center of the table. I mean, unless, you know, if you hit a pin pad, of course, that's a win. It doesn't matter. You know, if you could, even if you're not holding on, if you got enough side pressure and that guy's willing to hold on to you and you drive into the pad, then, I mean, you pinned yourself. But to me, if it's anywhere not on those pads, if it's anywhere center of the table or even on that side, whatever, if it's parallel, to me, it at least should be a restart.
Yes.
If it's on that side, because the way I see it is, if I'm completely.
Adam, we can't hear you. I think your microphone's covered up.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Yep. I must have put it on the pad the wrong way, but
you're good.
People, and then somebody came out with a comment. Well, how does Jerry Cadorette win? Jerry Cadorette, in my opinion, never has his hand completely taken, because if you think about it, there's multiple ways somebody could take your hand. I mean, the most popular way people think of is it flops back.
Yeah.
That's one way. But also there's a pronation aspect too, right? Like, you know, if your hands flop back, but you're still pronated, then your hand hasn't been completely taken, in my opinion.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, if you're bent back and turned under, then, you know, you're completely taken.
That's a double loss. Yeah. But you're right. I never really see Jerry get taken with his pronation. He always, most of the time he'll let you take his hand, but he's still pronated in. Yeah.
Still has his pronation. And, you know, I don't think and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I've ever seen Jerry win like underneath, taken.
No.
You know, and like without the strap. Maybe if he's got the strap on, he's got enough side pressure to drive you to the pad, but I don't think I've ever seen him win a match. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, I could be wrong.
No.
I know
I've never seen him win one like that either.
Right. So, but if you're completely now that we've established that, if you're completely on top of somebody and you drive them down into the center of the table, this side, that side, whatever, at some point in that match, that person goes below the pin line before the person with hand control.
Yes.
And to me, if it's on the loser side and you're like this and you pin down that way, at least it should be a restart. I mean,
exactly.
Maybe that's not the current rule, but in my opinion, that's what it should be.
So how did Chad's match turn out in Florida? Because I don't remember how it turned out. Did they call?
Well, they called it a win on this. I think the gentleman's name was Al Vagier. Very strong. I mean,
okay, yeah,
it looked solid. But they said it was a win. But the guy, he didn't advance because he hurt his thumb in the match. Like there was blood. I don't know if he tore something. I mean, I guess Chad was holding on so hard that it just the gentleman got injured. But I'm sure he would have, had he not been injured, would have done a lot more damage because he looked fresh and he looked strong.
Yeah. So, I would think, I agree with you, man. You would think that, because in any other tournament or any other match or league, if somebody were to get hit and try to dump out in the losing position, that's a loss. So if somebody has hand control in the center of the table and then somebody's trying to bail out and they get pinned, even if it's on their side, I feel like that should still be a win, but at least, like you said, a restart.
Yeah, I mean, and now I know it's a gray area. Like, again, you know, maybe the guy's got some bit of pronation, but, you know, if the hand is completely taken, flop back and turned under, if it's anywhere in the center or right, left side, as long as it's not on those pin pads, if it's not a win, man, it should at least be a restart.
Exactly. That to me, that's common sense. Like you said, I feel like nobody wants to, especially as spectators and people trying to grow the sport, nobody wants to see a match end like that. And if it does end, they don't want to see it go to the wrong person. At least a restart would be what everybody would want. Keep it going.
That happened to me when I was when my belt wasn't a U.S. belt, it was a regional belt. And I was pulling Danny Gillian because he had the West Coast belt. And we were uniting the two. I was in a similar scenario where I had his hand completely taken, and I went to pin him in the center table, and it was like, to me, it was in the center, but they said no, it was a little bit on this side, and they called it a win on him. And I don't even think Danny thought that he won. He was like, oh, I won, I don't even think everybody's like, what's going on? And they're like,
I'll take it. Hey, anybody that gets a win called after they grip up with you and feel that hand, they're probably like, yeah, well, you know what? I'll take it right now.
Now, like I said, if that's the rule, then and it's not going to change, then that's the rule. And, arm wrestlers have to, find a way around it, either slip or find a way to pin. But I feel like it should be at least looked at and kind of put out some thought,
I agree with you. I feel like trying to make the sport grow, that's definitely a main concern as to to keep people interested, because we don't want people who don't, not necessarily, because we have arm wrestlers out there who know all the rules, and then we have arm wrestlers who know a little bit of the rules, and then we have spectators who know zero, none of the rules. So we don't want. I think that's something that definitely, you're right, man. That's a concern, and I want to give Paul Laterio credit too. He's trying to really clarify a bunch of stuff, and when stuff's brought to his attention, he does his best to set it out in stone and everything. But hey, if anybody can get that brought to the table, I know it's you. You got a big voice in the arm wrestling community, and a lot of people look up to you and respect you. Especially a lot. I can't tell you how many people we've gotten, or I've got. I don't know how many people have messaged Nick, but I've probably had 10 to 12 people message me, and they're like, "You got to get Adam on, man. He's super knowledgeable. He's for the new pullers and stuff like that, and he's a rising champ." And I'm like,
thanks, man. You're very humble to hear that. Very humble. Thank you.
Hey, I mean, literally everybody that I've talked to, not even just people from your group, everybody, dude. I've been getting reached out since we've started this, and they've just been like, get him on. He's going to have some good points. And I'm like, but this is definitely one of them things that we, like I said, I'm really confused at that point too, because hand control is a big thing. And for somebody that can control center of the table, it doesn't take much to kind of get a little bit over to the other side, and then for it to be called, I for sure don't want to get a win based on trying to dump out and getting pinned, Yeah,
if your fingers are curled, you're not holding on, and the guy's holding on to your thumb because you're trying to slip and you're bailing, you're coming down, and they pin you, even if it's on that, side. To me, it should at least be a restart, unless of course if you drive the guy into the pad, then there's no. But
the only way, to me, I feel like it should be a win to the other person. The only way a restart to me would be relevant is if the person that's trying to dump just hit faster, and they was able to get you off center just a little bit on their side, and then they're starting to lose, and then they try to dump out. As long as it's not a low dump, I feel like it should be a restart. But if they dump out so low, I don't care. To me, I don't care how far it is on the other side. If they dump out real low, I feel like it should be a win to the person pinning.
Absolutely. So, absolutely. Yeah. It's a gray area. There's so many scenarios that, you see some more clear than others. And that's why I think the rules should be revisited. Definitely.
How would you suggest that the upcoming tournaments and people that are running tournaments do that? Do you think we should involve more of a replay system? We have so many YouTubers and content creators out here that are showing up to events they're not getting paid, but they're running top-notch equipment, like Victor Sierra. Victor's out there with legit stuff. And I know Paul is up for he so if somebody says look at the film, he doesn't take that in he doesn't listen to a certain person, but if he feels like if it needs to be looked at, I know Paul will look at it. I just feel like with arm wrestling, since it's such a fine chess game, and with stuff being so close, I feel like replays need to be a little bit more involved, especially in the smaller tournaments.
I think replays obviously would definitely help. It, how realistic that might be when you think about it. Like you said, there are a lot of, like you said, Victor, you got Artem and Alex Toproll. There's plenty of guys that are out there filming the events, but in events and there's no film, or maybe, I don't know how hard that is to bring up an instant replay. Probably not at all. But I think not giving the instant replay a way we could change it immediately is, again, revisit what complete hand control really is. Your hand can be bent back, but that doesn't mean it's completely taken.
Exactly.
Understand what that is. And just like anything else, the refs are just going to have to watch for it. And, I know top-notch referees are hard to find. You definitely have a lot of good referees around. Yeah. And it's not really an attack towards any of them or anything, but I know one thing. If I had to ref a tournament, I would do a terrible job.
It's hard.
It is hard to sit there and we think about watching for all this stuff. In my opinion, you need a good head ref and a good down ref that are in sync.
Exactly. Yeah.
They've ref tournaments together, and I think it should be like a package thing.
Thank you for bringing that up. That's a good little segue into adding to that conversation. I noticed a lot of referees, they like the head ref and the down ref. Most of the time here lately, they either have never refed before together, or it's been so long that they've refed with each other that it's like they're completely out of sync. Like at PAF, I saw a couple times James Sperlin was looking at the down ref, and they were waiting for each other, and they kind of had to. I'm like, somebody needs to make a call here. Like, you guys need to get on point here.
I know definitely, like, James Sperlin's in my opinion, a very good referee. Great ref, a long time, and and even Adam Gerbert is a good ref in my opinion. He's been around arm wrestling since 80s, 70s. But it was just the fact that they were out of sync. They have never reffed an event before, and so it was hard. It was hard for them, and it's not their fault. So it's not Anthony's fault, and it's not. How many referees in the United States? I guess 2 referees are in sync with each other and can go to any event at the drop of a hat and ref it and do a fantastic job as far as that aspect. Not I don't know. That's hard to come.
I personally can't name more than 2. So, and to get them that, like you said, how realistic would it be to get refs like that at every event right now? I just don't see that being. I don't see the refs being top notch at every event until arm wrestling gets a little bigger than what it is. And even then, you're still going to have. NBA's been out since what? Over 100 years, and they still have calls that are. We're going to have that day in and day out, but it's. I think we just having that fine line between like you said, what hand control is and what center of the table is and not. But these fine, minute millimeters of, you were on this side and that side, I just think is a little crazy. We need to figure out a way to get that chopped down better to make a better call.
I agree, and it needs to be written out in rules. I think every organization should have, a rule set that's written out, and I think, they all do, like WAF, AAA, IFA, they all have it. But when I've read through it, I haven't seen anything where, it really goes into that role, where it really goes into it.
Yeah. It's not concrete. It just, like you said, it still floats in that gray area, and they just kind of.
Right. Yeah. Some of it says, well, if hand control doesn't matter as long as it's on this side of the table. Well, define hand control, right? Exactly. So that's the point,
Like it's almost contradicting in your own mind. You're like, I don't understand.
Yeah. That's just my take on it. Maybe some people could shut me down on this point, but that's definitely a concern in arm wrestling.
Trust me, if you come on our channel long enough, somebody's going to try to shut you down, because we get so many people talking shit. They're like, we've had people tell us that we don't even make any sense, and I'm just like, okay, whatever.
People are always going to talk trash and try to put you down.
Yeah. But man, I wanted to. Oh, Nick, do you have anything, man? Before, I don't want to steal all of Adam's time from you.
You're good. I got 2 short ones, and it kind of pivots into a little bit of a more in-depth question. So the two short questions are, First of all, how old are you and how long have you been pulling?
I am 24 years old, and I've been arm wrestling since January of 2015. So it was going on 7 years now, 6 years.
Right. So
Damn, man.
what I'm kind of getting to with that is I'm 22. I started, so January will make 2 years for me that I've been arm wrestling. And I got